was coming down the slide. He said, "Hey, have you heard this song?" I just looked at him like a stranger. He started singing, "Just come along." I hadn't heard lyrics like that before. Ones that praised the slacker. The one I'd been raised to abhor. And it struck me quite like a firecracker. I memorized all the words. And then 20 years later, I still dwell in a world where, whenever I hear it, I think of when I was introduced to the boy named Joel. I watched him bloody himself, fall off and break his arm. I was alarmed since I hadn't seen Joel had fallen such a charm. He smiled as he recounted the deed, though to be real, there were tears that day, even though he'd like us to forget that, as if we hadn't seen his time of dismay. One's body can be broken and still, they have their pride, not dispel. No worries, it's only my bones. Could only be said by one named Joel. One day Joel told us it changed, or at least his last name was another. When we asked him why he did it, from the truth he told us he was further. But I could appreciate the need for being fresh. I know a time or two I'd entertain the thought of burning my ID and all my cards and becoming someone that was previously not. Except for him, I didn't notice the difference. Just a name easier to spell. So he didn't have to keep explaining himself to anyone other than he was named Joel. A paralyzed lizard climbed over a rock, chasing a cricket for its dinner. Joel stomped on it, and I was ashamed at the laughter that arose from this sinner. To take a life is a sacred thing. But he responded, animals are only mechanical, and they were placed on earth for our desires. But I thought even if true, it's tyrannical. How do you treat what's under your feet, whether it's moving or just a shell? Though I never verbalized it properly, because it's not cool to disagree with a guy named Joel. He often tended to be quite cruel. In my direction, he'd throw an undercut and made me reconsider his company. When I'd take another punch in the gut, physical strength and size of the laws that govern small, tight communities, and Joel dominated in those categories, so I tried to escape when I had opportunities. He'd shove you in the ground for a nickel, and forsake you forever for a spell, if it meant he might earn some quarter, because that's what it meant for him, to be Joel. My tears dried when he packed his gear and said I'm moving over the hill, looking for something a little sweller, though to drop by I of course will. I enjoyed the peace and dreaded the war when he tried to rule from afar. His minions never mentioned him in absence, even though when he was close, he was Tsar. I saw it took no power to betray, and it took infinity to keep people in a cell. This very important lesson about power and its relationships I learned from a man named Joel. When he started tinkering with tools, I knew we were all in for something. He had a taser that could shock you. When it'd sneak up behind you, it'd give you a sting. For kicks, it'd get you to writhe on the ground. It'd ruin your day by giving you a tattoo, fashioned from his homemade gun that he made in his kitchen with the leftover screw. It'd draw anything you wanted if you just paid for one night in a sleazy motel. I never considered the mistakes could be permanent until I met the boy named Joel. Years later, I'd nearly completely forgotten about Joel and everything he used to do. But someone told me he was married to a nice girl everyone wanted to pursue, and that he'd traded his usual polo shirt for a white lab coat and long lists that he'd used to sort out patients and their L's, aches, wells, and cysts. I was glad that he was happy, but mainly thought of what I had to sell to end up with a plot twist like that. The story of a man named Joel. He got into a very serious car crash. I don't know if he was driving too fast, drinking too much, distracted, or on hash, but reconstructive surgery was floated, and they thought he might not be the same. I guess I decided it'd calm a bit and stop and take stock of what happened. But the facts I can't omit. He returned with a stronger vigor. Maybe a person can't make their spirits quell. You can't lock up what you are or who you become. Just another lesson I learned from a man named Joel. His name crossed my mind the other day. I realized I no longer cared. It felt like a lifetime ago. Perhaps I should be happy I got spared. What he's doing now is fine, as long as it's something I don't see. Whenever it becomes my turn to speak, my only wish is for him to be absentee. I hope to never see him again. He can have heaven, or have hell, as long as I get to keep the earth away from the one whose name Joel.